welcome back to Well Moonlight Vlogs, or hello if you're new. My name is Raven, and today we are going to be going over my 2021 goals. I have tried to film this several times today, and it has just been a day, but it snowed, it's really pretty outside. I've got new fuzzy socks, but I wanted to just sit, hang out with you guys, and I've got some hot tea because coffee isn't working for me today. It's been a day, and I'm going to be crocheting while I talk to you about my 2021 plans and just sort of briefly touch on how 2020 went. One of the times I tried to film this earlier, 2020 became its own topic, and so I would love it if you would tell me if you're working on anything in the comments down below, or if you have a hot beverage. It feels very like craft night-y when you guys tell me what you guys are working on, and it makes me really happy. So if you guys are working on anything, I want to hear about it. But let's get to yarning, because yarn is the important thing. So before I dive into what I wanted to talk about, I figured I might as well just tell you what I'm working on, because sometimes that's what something people want to know. I am using the Karen cakes in pistachio. I've used up a good amount, and I'm using a Clover G 4mm hook, and I am just doing a basic star stitch blanket. I actually just made my dog one of these in a pink color. It was Lion Brand strawberry ice cream, and then my husband saw me working on it and he wanted one, so he bought a bunch of Karen cakes because they reminded him of the Grinch, and gave me another project to work on. There are so many projects that I need to finish for him. I don't know if they're ever gonna get done. But he also has like a drawer full of things that I've made him. Like, don't think that I just never make him anything, I promise. He gets things made. Anyways, I'm also drinking a big cup of Irish breakfast with some almond milk and lots of honey. I like my tea with like way too much sugar and way too much milk. I think I'm just trying to avoid talking about 2020. I've been procrastinating filming all day, and I just gotta get into it. So 2020 started off. The word of the year was handmade, or no, homemade. My word of the year was homemade, and my goal was, I don't want to say it was reaching too high because I know other people do this, but like my goal did not take 2020-ness into account, and I wanted to basically start becoming more self-sufficient as a family and household. I really wanted to start making our own bread every week instead of buying store-bought bread, and for a while I was doing really well on that goal. I also wanted to start a vegetable garden, and I wanted to just start doing more things for ourselves. I knew we wouldn't be able to get like eggs or anything, but you know, we wouldn't be able to start a chicken coop or anything, but I really wanted to like start making progress towards being self-sufficient and almost homesteading. I love watching homesteading vlogs. It is, so motivational. But 2020 happened. We did not have the finances that we were hoping for because of a few unfortunate things that happened. We also were not expecting everyone else to also get into gardening and crafting and all of the things that you can do at home, and like it's totally understandable, but in our area you couldn't find things like fertilizer. I couldn't find yarn for a really long time, and I know I've talked about some of these things on the channel before, but like, you know, it's all things that added towards the things just not working out. And then later in the year I got overwhelmed with baking, not because of baking itself, though at a certain point my depression was making my executive functioning so difficult that like baking itself was too difficult for me. But the start of it was that I wasn't prepared when I went to start baking, and so I wouldn't have the recipe on hand. I wouldn't have it written down or in like a document or something that would make it easier on me. And so I would be like opening up Pinterest and dealing with websites that have pop-ups, or my phone, before this, we actually just replaced our phones, kept jumping up to the top of the screen of the page. And so I would be in the middle of reading an instruction, and I'm actually gonna scooch back because this hurts. So I'd be in the middle of reading an instruction, and then I would be back up at the top reading about how this was someone's grandma's favorite dessert or something. And that happened enough times that it just really became irritating, and I couldn't just deal with it anymore. I think 2020 as a whole played a lot into that. Like, I just wasn't doing well. So dealing with like that minor inconvenience felt way worse than it actually was. And I'm not gonna be mad at myself for that, but it definitely like played into how well I managed to go homemade. But like I did learn a few lessons out of that. Like I already mentioned, if I had written things down ahead of time, I wouldn't have been overwhelmed. Or if I had like written them on Google Keep or I have a notebook for recipes. There were options that I could have done and will hopefully be doing in the future. I want to get back to baking, not just for the channel, but because I liked baking and there's still things that I want to make for myself. And I feel like that's just the best summary I can give you of 2020 as far as like my year goal, word of the year thing. I don't think I completely failed it, but I don't think I achieved it as best as I could have. But I'm also not upset because I just don't think I need to be hard on myself after what we all just went through. I think I'm going to move you guys closer after this stitch. All right. Oh, you need a new battery. All right, so I got you guys a fresh battery, and I also moved you physically closer to hopefully be able to talk closer to the mic and not get as much echo. I don't know how well that'll work, but we're hoping for the best here. I would be like sitting closer to the camera, but my back really hurts, so this is just gonna have to work for us today. I am so glad I got multiple of these cakes. Anyways, let's take a sip of tea and get back to it. So moving forward, going into 2021, I didn't really have anything solid that I wanted to lean into, just sort of like a feeling, multiple feelings. And I've chosen the word of the year to be learning. I think growing up, I always loved to learn, and that has never like gone away. I am one of those people that I like just like to learn about a lot of random things. And I really want to take some time to designate just exploring that. And I do have some soft goals as far as like what I want to focus on learning, just to give myself a direction, but not necessarily give myself a standard to uphold. Let me pull out my phone because I did write notes on Notion to help me stay on track. So I don't think any of you are going to be surprised on like what pockets I want to start learning more about. I really want to start learning more about crochet. I've been doing it for so long that I feel like I should be more advanced than I am. And while there are a lot of things that I find pretty easy, I've definitely spent time mastering the basics, I just feel like I could learn more intricate shape work. And I do have a Craftsy account now, so I'm going to be using that to hopefully learn about a few topics such as knitting, crochet. I might even learn about sewing, which has been on my bucket list, but like lately is something that I feel very overwhelmed with. Starting new projects or new hobbies just is a bit much. But they also have cooking and baking on there. I think I actually haven't explored the website enough to know what's on it, but I was able to get a membership while they were offering it for $5 for the year. So I really want to like make use of that and start using it. I would also like to I want to do some of the things that I had planned to do last year and wasn't able to, but I also decided to split up a group of goals into start, continue, and stop. So here are my start goals. I really want to start celebrating small milestones. I am one of those people who doesn't give themselves credit for anything at all. It's not great, and it goes pretty deep and is pretty not great feeling. And basically I want to start celebrating small things because I don't give myself credit. I'm talking in circles again. So I have a few things like written out on our family whiteboard of things that I'm going to be celebrating, because while my husband is always like, oh hey, I appreciate that you did this for me, or I appreciate that you did that, or hey, you did this really well, I don't do that for myself. So I've picked out some celebration things for like point milestones on my cleaning app and subscribers. I don't want to treat my subscribers like numbers, but it does feel like a good milestone to reach. It's like a good way to gauge how you're reaching milestones. I don't know how to properly explain it. I am just hoping to celebrate more so I don't become one of those people who's like, oh, I haven't done anything with my life. No, I do things. The things I do are important to me, so they're important. I also want to start journaling in the morning. I have actually started doing this, and I actually started incorporating a tarot card pool with it. I've had this deck for, oh goodness, like 7 years. And at one point I felt very close to it and I could read it very easily, but I've become so inconsistent with reading it, so out of touch with like my spiritual practice from a lot of things. I just really wanted to start doing a daily pull, but I wanted to just start pulling a card every morning and then I journal on it. I also have, I know there's a lot of mixed feedback on this, but I was raised not to use your book with your tarot deck. Like, you shouldn't need your book with it. I'm keeping the book next to me so that after I journal a little bit of my insight, I can take the book out and sort of couple it with that and reaffirm what, not necessarily what I'm reading into it, but sort of the standard reading into it. Because while I think, you know, reading intuitively is great, having a basic understanding does help. And for the most part, I haven't been shocked or confused by what any of the cards mean. I was raised with this, but it's just a good way to get back to the basics, I guess. And I also want to start turning off the notifications on my phone. This is something that I've already been practicing. I have turned off the notifications on most of my apps. Most of my apps, I don't need notifications because it's something that I already check multiple times a day. I've started turning off the notifications to my messenger. Daisy is getting into something, excuse me. Okay, so I have started turning off notifications on all of my social media apps basically, and really just any app that sends me notifications that I don't need. I don't ever remember to check my email, so I did leave the notifications on for my email, but I went through and I unsubscribed to so many things because there's a lot of things I just don't need in my inbox. I don't do a lot of online work that involves my email, so it's not really for like the channel or my brand or anything. It's more or less just like the newsletters that I like to keep up with. Something that I already do related to this is that I put my phone on focus mode, and basically I just don't get any notifications from any app except for the ones that I've okayed, which are literally only YouTube and Spotify, so that I can cast those to my smart devices in my house and listen to things as I'm going. Oh, and Audible, but you don't really get notifications from Audible. I started doing that so frequently and realizing how much the lack of like digital clutter on my phone makes it easier for me to focus. But putting my phone on airplane mode means, you know, I can't use anything, which is fine depending on the circumstance. Putting it on focus mode also means I can't use it for anything. It's just that I'm available for phone calls now. So I just started turning off notifications. I turn notifications on Facebook Messenger when my husband's not home because he uses that to message me and ask like if I want anything from the store or what my coffee order is. Other than that, I already check things more than I should be, just out of, you know, the need to mindlessly scroll in between tasks. So why do I need a notification distracting me and pulling me there anyways? I literally have like a little circuit of, you know, apps that I open, look at for 30 seconds, say, oh, nothing has changed, close, and then move on to the next one. There's just like a little circuit that I do multiple times a day, and I don't need a notification. All right, so I have a few apps. I have a few habits that I want to continue because I started doing these in 2020 and I'm noticing that they are helping a lot. The first thing is short-term habit tracking. So I've realized that monthly habit tracking doesn't work for me. I don't remember to go check a monthly habit tracker in my bullet journal every day. I just don't. And I've tried habit tracking apps. Unless it's giving me points and telling me that I'm doing a good job, I'm not going to use it. I just don't. I get annoyed by them. I actually have a cleaning app, and I get annoyed by it when it tells me it's time to clean, even though I'm the one who told it to tell me to go clean. I just started using my morning board to track on a weekly basis. And before I had that, I was actually tracking on my weekly spread all of the habits, and that just works so much better for me. It's already where I'm looking on a daily basis for my to-do list, so I remember to fill it in, and it's just a lot more functional for me. The next thing that I so lost track. I'm just gonna start going over the wrong habit. The next thing that I really want to continue doing is sleeping and resting as needed. Oh, that is a messed up stitch if I ever seen one. So I have finally just started sleeping kind of when I can. I've stopped giving myself shit every time I have an insomnia flare up and don't sleep at night, and I just let myself sleep when I can, when I need to. And I've also stopped giving myself shit for not being able to wake up early the way neurotypical people can. No matter how frequently I do it, my entire life of having to wake up early has just made me feel jet lagged and sick. And so this year, my goal wasn't to wake up at 5 a.m. It was just get enough sleep to function and do the things that I want to do. I have the absolute luxury of being able to do that, and I'm so grateful for it. And there's no reason for me to wake up at 5 a.m. when no one's depending on me to do that. And it makes me feel unwell. I also want to continue using my morning board. I did a video on making this. If you're curious, it was my first ever vinyl decal project, and it was so fun. And I really want to do more things like that because I really enjoyed it. But basically, it's just a whiteboard that I customized with some vinyl to be a productive spotlight for me to look at in the morning, because I hang it by my bed in a spot that I'm able to very easily see. And it's got some of the things that I need to remember when I wake up, such as like, what are my plans for this week? Do I actually need to get out of bed at a certain time? Sometimes I don't, so I just go back to bed if I don't feel like it. Sometimes I do. And on before I had the board, if I had things I need to do during the daylight, like filming, which today is not a good example of that. I actually got up early and still ended up filming at night, but such as filming, I would forget and then just end up pushing things back another day. So yeah, I am really enjoying using that. I'm really enjoying using it. I'm really enjoying having it. It's something that I fill out every week just to keep my mind remembering to focus on it, and it has been a wonderful addition for me. The last habit that I want to continue before we move on to stopping is journaling at night. I think I've mentioned this in a previous video, maybe not, but I have a journaling practice that I follow every night, and I don't know how long I've been following it. It wasn't all of 2020, but in the time of 2020 that I followed it, I managed to fill up 4 journals. I am that person that everyone's like, oh, she likes to write, get her a journal, get her a pretty notebook, get her the paper, and then never used them ever. So yeah, no, this last year I filled up 4 of them and actually had to go out and buy one, and it's already like a quarter of the way used. So my practice is specifically, I fill up 1 page a night on my gratitude list, just whatever I'm feeling grateful for, or that I really want to welcome more into my life, or that I really want to make sure I'm focusing on the next day. I did that again, didn't I? Oh no, that one was right. Oh, tragic. Okay. Oh hey, we're coming on to another color change. So yeah, I fill out a whole page of gratitude. And the page after that, I fill up with manifestation and affirmations. some of it is like mental health based of like, I'm competent, I'm successful, because these are things that I'm trying to hardwire into my brain so that I can unlearn some other language that I've been using before now. And I also do like, excuse me, I also add in, you know, the things that I want to happen, like growth on my channel, or things that I want to do or feel, like financially abundant and stable. So I fill up 2 pages every night. Sometimes I do go off and I like fill out more than that, but for the most part, like those are my 2 goals, and normally I fill those up so quick and so easily. So it's just become a really nice, it's a nice way to put myself to bed. It calms me down. It helps me to feel less icky about situations that I'm in. I don't know about it being a Grinch blanket, but I really do think this is pretty, so I really hope my husband likes it. I also don't think 2 cakes is going to be remotely enough for the size of blanket that he wants. So I'm probably just gonna buy all of the pistachio cakes in existence. All right, it's time to talk about the things that I need to stop doing. The first thing that I have written down, and I didn't write these in an order of importance or anything like that, but the first thing I have written down is to stop putting a moral weight on baking from scratch, or really just functional tasks in general. I realized one of the things that was stressing me out is that I feel like I have to bake things from scratch, because there was a lot of language around box mix that was pretty negative while I was growing up, and you know, I definitely took it too seriously, and I didn't need to. At the end of the day, it's still a cake. Unless you like really mess it up, it's still a cake. And if you want it to be homemade, it doesn't always have to be completely from scratch. You can be proud of something from scratch, but that doesn't make it morally better or morally correct. It might taste better, but that doesn't mean it makes you a better person. And that's something that I needed to like remind myself and need to be reminded of more often. I also need to like do that with basic care tasks in general and functional tasks in general. There's a lot of things that I'm like, I'm not doing it handmade. I'm not doing it the hardest way possible. So therefore, it doesn't count. Like, no, that's not how it works. You know, at the end of the day, if it's made, if it's done, if good enough is good enough. And I've gotten better at like accepting baby steps, but I'm trying to get better about accepting half-assery, because sometimes you don't need to like do everything. Good enough is good enough. That's fine. The next one that, and the last one that I wanted to talk about is overcomplicating systems and apps and using things that I don't need to. So I've mentioned before that I used to use Trello for keeping progress of my apps, of my videos and things like that. And I overcomplicated it when I first started using it, because I started using all of these options that had nothing to do with me. I didn't need to touch them. I didn't need to look at them. I could have looked at them and said, oh, hey, that's cool. But no, I said, oh, I'm going to use that because fancy people are using that and I want to be fancy. Fancy people who are using that are normally working on a team. And so I was just making things way too complicated. I've gone through like periods of steps where I'm like, all right, I got to get up. I got to calendar block my whole day. I gotta do this, I gotta do that. And then, well, that does work for some people. As someone with like time dysphoria and issues with fatigue or chronic pain, or just not, or you know, just sometimes things just don't work out anyways, it just kind of became discouraging. And then I would be like, well, if nothing worked out today, I might as well just go do something completely unproductive instead of making the best that I can. I've gotten pretty good about not doing that and not just self-sabotaging. But it was still very discouraging to be like, oh, I was supposed to get all of this done today because the apps told me to, the bullet journal told me to, but I only got this done today, which like the amount that I got done was fine. It was good enough, you might say. And yeah, I've also gone through periods where like not just apps, but I think the max amount of complication, and the reason why it was complicated is because I was I was doing too much. I had a part-time / full-time job where I got paid hourly for customer service. I had my YouTube channel where I was trying to make multiple videos a week. I had a small business that I was trying to work on where I was trying to come up with 4 themed collections a year and do vending things, and why did I do that? But to be able to like achieve all of that, I did calendar blocking, I did a weekly planner and a bullet journal. Did it work? Yes. Do I need to do it now? No. Do I kind of miss it? A little bit. Planners are pretty, they make you happy, and I don't think it's a trap by any means, but they can trap you. They can be very tempting to overdo it. So that is my last habit. Like I said, I didn't come up with too many goals as far as like what I want to learn this year because I just sort of want to go at my own pace. I know I want to read more, which by the way, hey, big win. I've already finished my first book of 2021, which is a big freaking deal because I didn't finish any books other than audiobooks that I had already read at all in 2020, and I don't think I've like had a good reading year since like 2018 maybe. I think I read a couple of books that year. I don't remember. But yeah, I've already finished a book this year. It was fictional, but like for me, I do want to incorporate fiction as a part of my learning journey because I want to get back to writing as a soft goal. But there are a lot of things that I want to be doing. Right now, I'm just trying to like get in a rhythm with my videos again because 2020 Vlogmas, Vlogmas knocks you on your butt. And I didn't even do all 25 videos. I don't know how the people who did all 25 videos are doing. I can only imagine. Also, it's like that time of year where like the seasonal depression is real. And even though I'm pretty okay this right now, and like I've been pretty okay, I'm still tired. I'm still fatigued. I'm still a little not 100%, not anywhere near as bad as last year, but like it could be better. Anyways, that is all of my goals and habits and things for 2021. If you guys are interested in a planner setup or how I keep organized, I did a video on that last week, so hit up here. If you guys like more crochet videos or you guys want me to talk while I yarn more often, just let me know in the comments. Also, let me know if you're working on anything with me so I can, pretend we're in a chat, blah blah, so I can pretend that we are in a craft night situation where I just get to talk way too much because I love talking way too much. And don't forget to tell me what your favorite hot beverage was below. If you are still watching, I would love it if you left me a sock emoji in honor of my new fuzzy socks. And without anything else to say, I will see you guys on Thursday or Friday with a day in the life, and I will see you guys then. Bye.